Hello, I'm Tauni at Yoga 413, and today's class is all about the hips, keeping our hips mobile and flexible and healthy, most important. So if you need a block or a blanket, grab it and let's get started. So we're going to begin our class in a child's pose. So taking the feet together, begin to take the knees wide and experiment what works best for you, depending on how your hips are feeling today. And for some, even this is intense, so you're welcome to place a block to rest your hips onto as well. So as we take the knees a little bit wider, go ahead and lower on down into your pose. Here in the beginning, I just invite you to close your eyes for a moment, bringing all your awareness to your body, your breath, and especially the area of the hips. On your next exhale, begin to release any tension within your body or anything that might be weighing on your mind today. Begin to soften, relax, and breathe. Just one more long, deep breath. Then we're going to rise up and let's come into downward facing dog. Taking the feet hip distance apart and your hands shoulder distance. I always like to pedal out my feet on my first down dog. You're welcome to do the same or find stillness. Once you come into down dog, take a full breath. Then begin to turn your gaze forward and bring your right foot all the way forward to between the hands. Dropping that back knee. Take a moment here to find this kneeling lunge. You want your front heel down, knee over ankle. You can pad up your back knee by rolling your mat or placing a blanket underneath that knee if you need to. So we're going to settle in here and just begin to relax your hips as you begin to open up the hip flexors, keeping the spine long. Now you can choose to stay right here supported or maybe bring the hands up to above the knee. Again, take that breath in, and as you exhale, try to release slightly deeper into your pose. Never forcing, just feeling and trying to find your edge. Practice patience as we hold these poses. So if the hands are above the knee, go ahead and bring them back to the mat. And I want you to heel toe that foot wider, maybe once or twice, bringing the hands to the inside of the foot or onto a block. Lift the right toes off the mat and see if you can drop the knee any amount out to the side. So we begin to add that external rotation to that hip joint. So some of you, if you have more space, you are welcome to take those forearms down to the mat or to a block. I personally am going to stay right here. And you could also place that right hand just right on that knee. Again, never forcing, but maybe just the weight of your hand might take you a little deeper. Again, I'm going to choose to keep mine down today. Now begin to lift that knee up, heel toe it back in, and let's work our way back to down dog. So as we pause here between poses, maybe you notice the difference between the right and that left hip. When you're ready, we're going to begin to step the left foot between the hands, coming into your kneeling lunge. Find your pose, take your time, find your alignment. Take a few breaths, focusing on that exhale and that release. So stay where you're at, or maybe you walk it up. And again, that mental connection with the breath, that mind-body connection as you exhale. See if you can relax even more. Beginning to walk the hands down, heel toe once or twice. Hands on the inside of that foot. Good, just pause here. And then we're gonna lift the left toes and maybe drop that knee out. So again, options, you can stay right here with me. You might add that little twist and place that hand on the knee. Or some of you might go even lower onto the forearms or a block. But like I said, I'm good right here. Begin to lift that knee, heel toe it back. And then step back to down dog and breathe. Add that movement. Some of you might choose to even do some hip circles here. And then just settle into your pose. We're going to step forward again with the right, bringing that right knee in. We're going to lower down to pigeon this time, so turning that knee out. Begin to lower down, walking the hands out. This is a great place. If you feel like you're leaning over to one side, you can place a block underneath that hip for support. And if this bothers you, you can always flip it over into a figure 4 stretch as well. So we're going to begin to walk the hands back. We're going to stay in pigeon pose. See if you can lift, bringing the shoulders right over the hips. Keep extending through that back leg, taking it a lot more into the hip flexors now. Begin to release out of the pose, stepping back to down dog. And this time, let's all just draw some circles with that right knee. Letting it go. And then switching direction. Placing that foot down. Let's move into pigeon on the left side. So knee comes in, out to the side. The closer you can get your shin bone parallel to the front of the mat, bring that ankle close to that right hand, is going to be your deeper pose. So if you need to lessen it, just bring that foot maybe a little bit closer to your body. Again, never be afraid to take some time to see with small movements, small changes, the effect it can have on the area that you're stretching, in this case today, the hips. Begin to walk it back in. We're going to pause here, maybe taking the hands back, coming up, trying to get those shoulders as close to over the hips as we can, lengthening through that back leg, enjoying the stretch of those right hip flexors. Begin to come out of your pose. Let's take it to one more downward facing dog and draw some circles. Loosen up that hip joint. Switching direction. And then stepping back to down dog. So we're going to be moving into a prayer squat. So you're going to step to the top of your mat to the outsides of the hands. Turning those toes out, begin to drop your hips, bringing the hands to prayer at your heart. Take some time. And for support here, if you need it, if you had a block and you need support, you could sit on that block and enjoy the stretch here of the hips with that additional support. Keeping the back straight, bring your eyes forward. Good. Let's take the hands down to the mat, bring those feet in and have a seat. You can go ahead and shake out those legs for just a moment. So now we're going to go into cradle the baby pose. We're going to start by keeping our left leg extended and the toes up, and I want you to sit up nice and tall as you can. You're going to bring that right knee in. I like to place my foot into my hand for just a moment, and I just want you to move the hip joint. Bring that leg side to side. And then find stillness and see if you can bring that shin closer to the chest as you sit up tall. So some of you might be able to place the foot into that crease of the elbow and bind your hands for cradle the baby. Keep extending through that left leg. Do your best to sit up tall. So I've moved you into a little bit deeper stretch. As we hold now, see if you can add a little bit of movement from here. I love this pose. It just feels good to me and to my body. Good. Now one more time, stillness. And extend it out. Any movement there? I always like to move in between those longer holds. So now we're going to lengthen through that right leg. Sit up tall. Begin to draw that left knee in. Add some movement here. Now we're going to take it a little bit deeper, bringing that shin bone closer to the chest. Maybe placing that foot in the crease of the arm, binding the hands. Just do what works for you. Little bit of movement. See what that feels like. And then once again, just find some stillness. Keep drawing that shin closer to the chest. And then release, shake out those legs. So our next pose is butterfly pose. So bending the knees, taking them wide, placing the bottoms of the feet together. So if you're like me, you always seem to go to the same spot twice. So today, if this feels amazing and you're always in your same spot, stay there. If not, maybe experiment with bringing the feet closer or further away. Today I'm going to choose a little bit further away. Take that breath in and begin to lean forward. Out of your low back. Try to relax your knees, relax your hips. So choose to stay, or sometimes what I like to do is to open my feet like a book, keeping the bottom connected, but I begin to rotate the feet open. For me, I feel it more in that outer hip when I do this. just takes it a little bit deeper pose. That's for me. So go ahead and experiment with that. And then begin to release. Bringing the knees in, rolling it down onto your back. We're going to extend that left leg out. Keep the right knee in and gently pull that knee down out to the side. And then take it across into your spine twist, into the outer part of that hip, turning your gaze down your arm. Coming back onto your back, place the right hand above that right knee, or below, excuse me, and take it out to the side. Again, externally rotating that hip. And I always like to place my hand on the opposite side to try to keep it down. Bringing the knee back up, switching sides. Lengthen through the right, left knee comes in. Gently pull it down and then take it across into your spine twist. Back onto your back. Left hand on left knee, guide that knee open. Right hand right on the right hip to keep it down. Coming back up, let's bend both knees away from you, placing them on the edges of the mat, arms into goalpost, simply just drop side to side. Let's extend the legs out, spend just a moment in Shavasana, closing your eyes. Enjoying just a moment of rest. Softening from the toes, through the legs, the hips, the back, the shoulders. Release and let go. Begin to move the fingers and toes. Extend the arms over the head, full body stretch. Then bring the knees into the chest. Let's gently roll to your right side. And then help yourself up to have a seat. You did amazing. Hopefully those hips are feeling looser. You did your body good by doing this class. Let's bring the hands to the heart, and from my heart to yours, namaste. Have a blessed day, and thanks again for joining me.